Rabbi Friedman. Thank God it's Tuesday. We have a phenomenal opportunity once again to get your wisdom and insight into our world and our insane world as it is right now. So the question of today's show is, in accordance to Torah, wealth is considered to be a blessing. So the question is, why is the evil being blessed with it?
That's a very good observation. Wealth can be a blessing or a curse. What is the expression in Yiddish? There's an expression, money is blind, so she doesn't know who she's going to. So she could end up by the wrong people because money is blind. If it ends up with the wrong people, then it's a curse for them. It brings them down. It ruins their life. It corrupts them. It weakens them. It actually limits their existence. There was a very rich man named Howard Hughes. At his time, maybe he was the richest guy in America. I don't know. Very rich. He was so paranoid. He didn't trust anybody. He didn't trust the food that they brought him because he thought they might be poisoned. So, I don't know if this was a joke or it was true, but he would wash his hands with soap, but wearing gloves because the soap might be contaminated.
Just like today.
So he was isolated. He was afraid to go anywhere. He would sit in his house and watch the same movie over and over and over. And this is the wealthiest person in town. So, it could be that he was just paranoid whether he was rich or poor. But certainly the wealth aggravated his paranoia. So it's not always a blessing. It can be a blessing. It should be a blessing. But only in the right hands. In the wrong hands, it's terrible. And the same is true with a nuclear bomb. In the right hands, it's wonderful. It keeps peace in the world. In the wrong hands, terrible.
Rabbi Friedman, even though it's a curse for some, for most, I don't know, I'm not the judge, but it still seems to be the thing that everybody thrives for, and it is viewed as a blessing. And those that could do so many phenomenal things with it are not blessed with it, yet those that can cause lots of harm are blessed. So this is the question. From where we are standing, I'm sure the bigger picture is different and we don't see the bigger picture. But from where we are standing, it seems like the righteous, the good, the kind are the ones who are struggling to acquire or sustain their lives, whichever way we can see it. And those who are evil are blessed and are getting richer by the moment, and everything is an opportunity to become richer, like the COVID, for instance. Seems a little bit unfair, or as you say, forget the word unfair, immoral.
It does seem that way. The good are not good because they're poor. It's not like poverty makes you good. Poverty itself can also destroy you, corrupt you, make you desperate and do desperate things, bad things. Wealth is not always a blessing. It's a test. So poverty is a test of character. Wealth is a test of character. For all of history, certainly recent history, Jewish people were tested with poverty. Not only financial, poverty of rights, poverty of movement, poverty of opportunity. We were very impoverished. And that's a test, because it can make you crazy, it can make you corrupt. We've done very well. We can be very proud. Poor people, poor communities give more charity than rich communities outside the Jewish people. So we've handled poverty very well. We passed that test. In most recent times, the Lubavitcher Rebbe felt it's time to change the test. Yes, wealth is a test, but let's have that test for a change. Poverty is also a test. So it's time to be tested with wealth. And the Rebbe was confident that if we became wealthy, we would do just as well as we did with the poverty. We can handle it either way, particularly after we pass the test of poverty, which proves that we're not dependent on money for our sanity and for our morality and for our Jewishness. Now that we've proven that we can do without, now we should be able to do with. That's how it works. If you can live without the money, then you can live with it. If you can't live without the money, then you can't live with it. It's like idolatry. Believing in God is a wonderful thing. The wrong God is a horrible thing. So it is time for the test of wealth. And if you look around, it's happening. It's happening.
I was just going to say that, yes, that it seems like it's easier to acquire wealth for a common person these days than it was before. However, again, an observation, I don't think people are passing that test very well.
Well, let's not get critical here. Yes, there are some people who are newly rich and they don't know what to do with themselves. So there's an interesting Mishnah. The Mishnah says, who is wealthy? The one who is content with his portion in life. Which seems to be saying, it only seems to be, it seems to be saying, if you really want to be rich, be happy with what you have, be content, and that'll be your wealth. But in fact, you're going to be poor. So the Mishnah seems to be bait and switch. You want to know who is rich? I don't know. I'll tell you who's happy. The person who's content with his portion in life is happy. And you can call that rich, but it's not rich. So there must be a deeper interpretation of the Mishnah. The Mishnah is saying like this. There are rich people in the world. They are rich, mullah. They have money and lots of money. They're rich. But who among them can handle wealth without being destroyed by it? The answer is someone who is content with their portion in life. Their portion in life, not their bank account. If they're content with their bank account, they're not getting rich. It is not the nature of rich people to be content with their money. So here's what it is. A person gets rich. All of a sudden, his wife is not good enough for him. He needs a new model wife. His car is not good enough for him. He needs to upgrade his car. His house is not good enough for him. He needs to move into a richer neighborhood. Even his community is not good enough for him. And his rabbi is not good enough for him. He has to change everything. Eventually, his children are not good enough for him. He can't be bothered with them. This is rich? Yeah, he's rich, but it's destroying his life. The trick is, no matter how much money you make, and you should make more and more and more endlessly, but that's why you don't like your wife? That's why you have no time for your children? All of a sudden, your community is not good enough, your car is not good enough. It's a nice car. So, if you can be content with your life while you're increasing your wealth, that's good rich. People who just became rich get a little crazy, hopefully temporarily. They'll eventually get used to it, they'll get over the shock, but in the meantime, they can do a lot of damage to their life. It's sad to see.
Rabbi Friedman, would people really know what rich is if they had nothing to compare to? I mean, bringing us back to last week's program, if we did not, isn't it like jealousy that keeps us going forward and increasing wealth, or, kind of giving us idea that we're lacking something? I mean, realistically, if we were closed off with everything we need at this point, I think every single family would probably be sustained and have enough. The only thing is that the neighbor is a little bit better off. So, if he can do it, I can do it. So there we go.
Yes, yeah. There is that social pressure, but there's also an internal pressure. Any person who feels that he has more than he needs feels rich. I can burn money and I'll still be fine because I have more money than I need. That's the feeling of wealth. Who feels that they have more than they need? In other words, it's not just our neighbors. We ourselves develop an appetite that is just out of control. You can't satisfy this appetite. Yesterday, you thought you needed $100. Today, you have $200. Perfect. No, I need $3. Well, how did you all of a sudden... And your appetite just keeps growing, so you don't feel like you have more than you need. And that kills it. The feeling of wealth is relative. If you have more than you need, you are rich. So there are people who have billions of dollars and it's not enough. They need more, so they don't feel rich. That's sad. You shouldn't feel like you need more. Then you're acting like a poverty-stricken person. You want more. You would like more. You love the thrill of making more, the challenge of it. But you need more? You don't have enough? That's pathological. Like a bottomless pit that can't be satisfied. So you should feel, I don't need more, I just love making money. It's a pleasure, it's a challenge, it's exciting. So the question is not only what does my neighbor have, it's what do I need? Do I really need a bigger house? These actors and actresses who have these $40 million, $800 million homes, what do they do with it? They're hardly there. They never go into the kitchen. And they have the most expensive kitchen in the world. They don't use it. A caterer comes and uses it. Anyway, The thought that I need more money is depressing. That's not a feeling of a wealthy person. A wealthy person feels I have more than I need. Doesn't mean I don't want more. Yeah, I want more. But I am not poor. And if you feel like you need more, then even if you're worth billions, you're poor. Emotionally, mentally, you're poor. So we have to learn to have a moderate appetite. Don't be hungry all the time for everything you see. That's not healthy. And by the way, we talked about this, I think, once. In terms of eating, in terms of healthy diet, we have hunger and we have appetite. A poor person is always hungry. A rich person is not hungry, but he has an appetite. So when somebody comes over to your house, you put out some snacks, you put out some food. Why, you think they're hungry? No, they just ate. So what's with this food on the table? Well, that's for your appetite. A person should never eat so much that he loses his appetite. That's vulgar. That's gluttony. Eat enough so that you have no more hunger, but leave your appetite. You're not supposed to kill your appetite. Kill the hunger. Same thing is true with wealth. Of course, you still have an appetite for more money, but you're not hungry. If you feel hungry, you're not even rich. You're feeling, thinking, and living like a poor person. So, to enjoy wealth means I love making money. I don't need the money. That's a rich person.
Rabbi Friedman, I studied somewhere that ideally the treatment of money should be that whatever you made and you need, you live on, but everything that is extra, you give away to those who need it more. So in other words, it's not even good to save money. However, in today's world, does that apply? Because we live in such strange times not to put something away, or is it still kind of not trusting Hashem enough that if you give the extra to charity, whatever you don't need, that you might still, is it a question of trust, or is it a question of today's world that we live in realistically?
They're both the same thing. Very righteous people couldn't stand the thought of money sitting in their house overnight. Because overnight, you're not going to use it. So you don't need this money until the morning. Some people need it now. So to hold money overnight seemed to them like a crime. You're sitting on money doing nothing when other people are starving? So they could not stand the thought of money sitting. Either pay your bills or pay somebody else's bill. But don't have money dormant, doing nothing. Money should always be busy, feeding somebody, taking care of somebody. But here again goes back to the question of what do we feel we need? What is our hunger? Most people today feel they must put away money for the future, for retirement. It's a need like I need breakfast. You can't argue with that. Is it a real need? Now we're getting into a philosophical discussion. But if they feel that it's a need, you can't tell them that it's not. You can't tell somebody you're not hungry. They're hungry. They feel very insecure if they don't have a savings account, a retirement fund. It disturbs them. They can't sleep at night. So to them, it's a real need. So they don't have more than they need. This is what they need. So they don't feel wealthy. They just feel a little more secure. Wealth is not security. It's much more than security. So if I have what I need, can include a retirement fund. And only after I have more than that, then I'll feel rich. In the meantime, I'm just feeling comfortable, which isn't bad either. It's been a long time since we felt comfortable as a nation. So money is a big subject. And that's why. Go ahead.
So sorry, Rabbi Friedman, but Torah has been given to us by God, of course, and in some of your lectures, if I understand it correctly, you said that it's so we can understand His intent for us better, His wishes, His thought process, and so on. I don't know if it's ever feasible for us to understand or not, or is it just wishful thinking? But at least we try to do that every time we open and study the Torah. Again, even throughout Torah, we see that it is the evil that is being blessed with riches. And we see, different outcomes of it. And then we see our whole entire world that is also throughout history, the evil is being blessed with riches. The ultimate evil sometimes. What lesson are we supposed to derive from it? How can we internalize all of this?
Well, the first thing is all that money eventually must end up in the right pocket. It's got to go somewhere, right? It's not going to disappear. Where is it going to go? So it could be that God is using evil people to make a lot of money, destroy their own lives by doing it, which is their punishment, and then the money got to go somewhere. It goes into the right pocket. That would be beautiful.
Agree.
That would be poetic justice.
Yes.
And hopefully that is happening or will happen. But in the meantime, the test, the great virtues of character that we are capable of is much more valuable and much more important than how much money we have. So the good people will be good without the money. Hopefully they'll be good with the money. It's another question. It's a different challenge. Those who are not good are not going to become any better with the money. So we can't make money the yardstick, the measure for success or not success, for good, not good. Rich people are obviously better people. There is such a belief. It's weird. God gives success only to those people who are moral. What world have you been living in? No, in this world, the wicked prosper. Why? It's the lowest world. Have you heard that? You know about this? We are in the lowest world. In the lowest world, evil has all the power, evil has all the success, evil has all the fame and fortune. It's flashy, it's brilliant, it's attractive, it's desirable. That's a low world. What do you expect? We are here to make a difference and to bring in some change. We're not part of that. We're not part of the lowliness of the lowest world. But we have to engage it in order to change it. If you're not willing to get your hands wet, you can't wash any dishes. So we have to be willing to roll up our sleeves and get our hands dirty in the process of cleaning the world. That's not sinful. Dirty doesn't mean sinful. It means greedy, materialistic, selfish. It doesn't have to involve sins, crimes. So the fact that the wicked prosper that's not a sign from heaven that this is a good person, that this is a favored person. It's just a symptom of the lowness of this planet, of this universe. All the powerful people in history have, almost all of them, been evil. With or without money. Some people were evil with a lot of money. Some people were evil with a lot of soldiers and a big army. But why are they successful? Why we have that impression? Everything bad succeeds. Everything good struggles. I wouldn't say fails, but struggles. That's because the world is not yet fixed. So the world was created by God to be the lowest possible world. Nobody corrupted the world. It was created to be the lowest world, the most ungodly, godless. Our job is to bring God into the world, to represent God to the world, and to actually change the nature of nature. Nature of nature is to be low, the lowest. We have to change the nature of nature until nature becomes the highest, the closest thing to God.
Rabbi Friedman, we were given 6,000 years to do that. We're practically out of time. We're in year 5,781. So basically just a few more years to go, and we might not, have all that time either. Are we doing it? Because if you look at the world today, it looks crazy, bad. The evil is really in its heydays. I mean, it's just oozing out, and so it doesn't really look like good. It doesn't look like we fixed anything. Or am I wearing the wrong glasses?
It is time to panic. We're running out of time. It's time to panic and get a little hyper about bringing Mashiach, or getting to be the ones to greet Mashiach. The way that the world becomes good is not dramatic. You can take a very low world and coat it with gold. It'll look very good, but inside it's rotten. You can't fix a world from the outside. It has to come from the inside. And that's why, in a sense, God can't do it. If God fixes it, it'll be like covering it with gold. Only the world itself, though the people of the world, can really change the world from within. The inner changes are happening all the time and have been happening for 5,781 years. When it reaches the tipping point, or when it reaches a certain degree, critical mass, then it'll break through the surface and we will see it. So we're expecting that the goodness should be seen first on the surface, and then it'll penetrate through the world and make it good on the inside. It works the other way. The goodness has to start on the inside until it is so full of goodness that you even see it on the surface. Now is time for all the goodness that is internal, deep, real, permanent. It's time for it to show on the outside. It's time for it to blossom and to reach the surface. Under the surface, a lot of good stuff going on. And we're starting to see little signs of, I think one of the exciting things of this past week, the government in Florida passed a law that there has to be a moment of silence in the public schools. That is such an amazing piece of legislation. Who benefits from it? Who's going to make money on this one? Nobody. This is pure goodness. And where did it come from? Not some holy person. From the government.
The senator presented the bill, which is awesome.
Other such things are happening in the world, everywhere. All the nations making peace with Israel. Okay, there is some benefit there. Everybody's going to benefit financially. But the financial benefit has been there all these years. Why didn't anybody ever think of it or act on it? Now, all of a sudden, they realize there's a benefit? No. Now, all of a sudden, they have enough goodness in them to take advantage of those benefits. So, our efforts were not in vain.
It is. It's absolutely amazing. But what else should we be paying attention to? I mean, yes, I've noticed that is, I think, a major breakthrough. Unfortunately, it's only in one state right now. It would be phenomenal if it was nationwide or even worldwide. But it's still, it's a great beginning, and it's very exciting that at least we're already moving in a good direction. And the beautiful thing is, it's what the Rabbi was saying, what the Rabbi was telling the world to do, and that's also very positive because he was preparing the world for Mashiach, and hopefully these are the first steps. Rabbi Friedman, however, what else is, on one hand, we see a lot of good things happening, but on the other hand, we see a lot of bad things still happening.
Okay. Now let's look at the bad things. They're crazy. They're crazy. The bad thing is the rioting. What is rioting? What is that? Where are they going? What are they proving? What are they accomplishing? Absolutely nothing. They go home with a television. I hope they enjoy it. It's so senseless. And all the hatred with the anti-Semitism, with the anti-Asians, with they don't know what they're doing anymore. And I think that it's a good lesson for Jews. All this anti-Asian stuff. What do they have against Asians? What? Do Asians ever bother you? What could you possibly have against Asians? Why? Because the flu came from China? They don't even know what an Asian is. So to even call it anti-Asian, it's not even that. And the same is true with anti-Semitism. Today, What anti-Semitism? There are gangs roaming the streets looking for someone to beat up. If it's Asians, Asians, Jews, Jews, whites, blacks, whatever. It's so indiscriminate. It's an equal opportunity crime. Whoever happens to be in my path, that's who I'm going to mug or rob. So do they care whose store they're robbing? No, they don't. There's no thought behind all this. There's no thought, there's no purpose, there's no intention. It's just frustration. And frustration about what? About nothing. So it's what's missing that is making us crazy, not what we have. We don't have very evil people. We just don't have any goodness to get excited about. So the average kid in the street who may go rioting, it's not who he hates or what he wants. It's what he doesn't have that's making him crazy. He has no idea what goodness is. He has no idea why he exists. He has no idea why he was born. He has no idea why he should continue living. That's more painful than anything you can do to somebody. To not do. So the Rebbe came along and said, we have to educate people about the 7 Noahide laws. Not you have to stop them from committing crime. The crime we can absorb, but not having a purpose in life. So if crime made their life happier, I would see the purpose of the reason. It doesn't make them any happier. So what they don't have isn't getting any better. Nothing is filling the gap, the hole in their heart and in their brain. Nothing is filling it. That's the real tragedy. That kind of evil can only be fixed one way.
With goodness.
Bring in the light. Tell them there are 10 commandments. I guarantee you they never heard about it. They never heard about it. They heard about the movie. Maybe. But the 10 commandments in real life, never heard about it. They never heard about the virtue of having a television sitting there for you to take, and you don't take it because it's not yours. They never heard of that. To them, if you don't take it, you're a total idiot. So it's much easier to fill in what's missing than to fight what is. It looks scary, but that's misleading. The evil of today is not the evil of yesterday.
Rabbi Friedman, I think another piece of good news is that the rating for the Oscars are 58% down. So I don't know. I find that to be very, very positive because unfortunately, even though I didn't want to give it any ratings, I did tune in just to see what it looks like this year. And it was very, very depressing and more hateful than ever. So.
And some people are saying the reason it has lost its appeal is because it has no content. Everybody gets up and babbles about the environment and about saving the whales or about your political party. These people shouldn't be talking about politics. It's not their thing. It's not their expertise. They shouldn't be talking about climate control. All they know is how to set a thermostat. I mean, nobody wants to hear their opinion of these things, but they have nothing meaningful to say. That's the tragedy. They have the attention of the world, and they squander it. So people stop listening. See, that goes back to the money thing. If God gives you a huge microphone, It's so that you can say something really smart. 1 year, another year, another year, and you don't say anything smart. God will take the microphone and give it to somebody else. The same with wealth. God gives people enormous wealth that they should do something with it. 1 year, another year, another year, they don't do anything worthwhile. God is going to take the money and give it to somebody else. So that's what's happening with the Oscars. People thought, wow, that's a big microphone. Let's hear what he has to say. Because millions of people are listening. And they says nothing. Silly, vulgar jokes. Okay, eventually, you don't get the microphone anymore. The microphone is going to move someplace else.
That's good, but they had it for too long.
Oh, yeah. God is very patient, but there's a limit.
Rabbi Friedman, amazing. I think things are becoming very, very obvious that the power and the money have been in the wrong hands and in the wrong places for way too long. And hopefully we're at a point where things are changing. As one of your students said, things they are changing. That would be Bob Dylan. I think we have a lot to look forward to. And I hope that every week from now on, we will have those little twigs of goodness that we can talk about and shed some light to those who maybe possibly don't see it. But I think the dropping of the Oscars popularity and the moment of silence, at least in the Floridian schools for now, is really an amazing turn of events. So thank you so much, and thank you for your wisdom and your time that you give us weekly. So grateful for every second of that.
Speaking of Bob Dylan brought good news to the world. Good news. The answer is blowing in the wind. Times they are a-changing. Good news. That's so vague. The good news today is much more concrete. We're getting there.
Amen. God willing, because...
I would love to hear about your good news segment.
The good news
I tried listening, but it's all in Russian.
I'm so sorry about that. but just, I really hope, and this is what we search for, that every day we should have more things to add to this segment. It's a good segment, but I really want it to be the strongest segment after, thank God it's Tuesday, of course.
Hatzlacha Rabba.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Friedman, and happy Lag BaOmer, and of course, all the best. And again, thank you very, very much.